My name's Grandma.
Hi, Chris. Yeah. You went where?
We went to the Golden Bears.
Oh, really? Ah. Yeah, right. Yeah, good.
Well, I mean, to teach elementary school, that's what you need, you know, that kind of energy.
This is Michael right here, right? So let me show you, get a picture. And this is Stacy right next to him. Okay. Okay, and this is, let me see, is this Gia here?
It's Rebecca.
This is Gia right here, right?
That's Rebecca.
This is Rebecca, that's right, yeah. And where's Gia? Gia's here. And Dale is right next to Gia, right? Okay, and I know Janine is here. Okay.
And you know little Cindy, right?
And little, little
More like little Cindy.
I'm in Maryland.
Really?
Yeah, when I first walked in. Everybody say.
This is a toast for Grandma Ester. I was designated grandchild speaker today. What am I going to take for Grandma? Everyone said, oh, she's a great cook. This, that's the obvious. And I said, well, she's a pain in the butt. But there's only one reason she's a pain in the butt, and that's because Grandma Ester cares. She does everything. And there's one way to tell. From us, from our grandma grandchildren, first generation to the second generation. God knows she's probably going to be around for the next. You can see who everyone always goes to. It's Grandma Ester.
Go-to girl. Go-to girl.
No, they don't like Grandma Ester. They only like her.
That's not.
Barley, barley.
Boy, she really does well walking this. I mean, she's,
Been walking now.
yeah. Hey, Cindy, you're finally eating. No babies.
This is my third helping. To hold her down. I was mortified.
Fair face, huh?
He's filthy, Anthony.
I love it.
Everything half goes in his mouth and half goes on the floor.
Yeah.
That's how even at school they told me he's a mess.
Is it warm, Chris? Is it warm?
This is like a bubble bath.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. Your mom is always home. Here's your coffee.
Oh, Gavito, I got that on tape.
Give me a little macaroni grill. No. I'm messy, but I want to feel. No kidding. If you want to feel a little bit alive, feel low. Take your time.
Okay. Happy anniversary, Dad.
Happy anniversary, all right? That's a surprise, all right.
Yeah, surprise, huh?
Congratulations. Chin down. Chin down.
Michael? Michael, take some pictures of them kissing.
Pictures of who?
Of Grandma kissing everybody.
Where's Grandma?
Good. You get the camera, take a picture of Grandma and Grandpa at the table. It's right at my table.
And I put the bathroom.
You know where the bathroom
First of all, I want to welcome everybody here on this auspicious occasion. You only go around once in life, and when you start celebrating 50 years of anything, it's pretty great. And tonight we're here to celebrate 50 years of married life for my mom and dad, and it's great to see all of you here to help us celebrate that day with them. My brother Tony and Rick and their wives and all the grandchildren are really happy that you were able to come here to celebrate with your love in particular for two people that we feel really deserve it quite a bit. And we want to show them that we respect them, and most of all, throughout the years that we've been alive, we want to show that we really appreciate all the things they've done for us. And again, thank you very much, and I'd like to help you join us in a toast. You all have champagne? Here's to my mom and dad with great love, to Grandma and Grandpa, to Margaret and Henry, to Uncle Henry and Aunt Margaret, and to Zigooch and to Margaret. You take your choice, and we want to wish them 50 more years of wedded bliss. And as they say in Italy, Mary Cent'anno. Mom and Dad. And I don't know if you ever thought about it, but if you take 50 years, in fact tomorrow is the 50th anniversary, April 23rd, 1939, and you interpret that into the number of days, I figured it out with a calculator. And just so you're aware, you can do some thinking about it. For the last 50 years, my mom and dad have been together for 18,262 days. You never thought about that. The next anniversary, I'll say how many minutes. While I was researching, I also came across some of the prices of different goods. For instance, Barbizon Plaza Hotel, which Donald Trump was involved with just a couple of years ago, had a single rate of $3.50 a night. A man's shirt was $1.49, and a brand new Dodge, this will make you sick, was $756. That was for a 39 Dodge. Those were some of the highlights of that particular day, that wonderful year, that wonderful day, April 23rd, 1939. Mom and Dad. First of all, we grew up in New York City, most of you know. And in fact, I wouldn't want to trade that time anywhere else in any part of the country. It was the greatest time. I wish we could go back there sometime. In fact, we went back last year. We took our kids, Anthony and Rick and myself, we went to New York to see the aircraft carrier, Intrepid. And I decided it would be great to just take a ride uptown. And we went to 319 East 115th Street, where we were all born. And there's some pictures of the building in our school that we included in the album. And it was one of those great nostalgic times. The only thing, of course, was the neighborhood didn't look nearly the same as it did when we left in 1951. My dad had a produce business, horse and wagon, basically. He was a peddler in New York City. And I can remember many times meeting him on 118th Street, and he was making his run. And I would go on a Saturday usually, or anything during the summer, and help him pull the horse through the streets. I would climb up to the top of the wagon. I would deliver something up to Mrs. Del Guadavascio and the third floor. The horse's name, now that's very important. That's a very important experience in my life. I can remember the horse Tootsie. You don't see this anymore. And I remember it was a hot July day, and the horse had pneumonia. And my father had an ice bag on the horse's head. It was like old diamond. And his head was hanging about as low to the ground as he could get without falling down. And the horse, for a few days, was like this. It was really pretty sad to see, but, business had to go on. He had to keep going. You couldn't just get the brakes repaired or, something else fixed on like a car, but. And one of my most telling impressions at that time was that the horse died. Eventually, after a few days. I don't know how true this is, my own thing, because you embellish things in your own mind. But I can remember, I think on 108th Street where the stable was, the horse died, probably during the night or whatever. And picture in my mind is that the horse was out to the garbage, in the gutter. He was laying in the gutter, waiting to be picked up. We moved to Newark in 1951, and we pretty much stayed in the business. It was like a love-hate kind of relationship with it. You loved being there when you could have all the goodies you wanted. Anytime you were hungry, it was there. You hated the times when you had to do the work. You had to deliver some groceries. You had to take care of 100 customers who seemed to be there at once. I can remember being at Galesburg Park, and I used to love to play baseball. And I remember being out there one day batting, and Dad came over in his apron and his cleaver. And he was standing in left field. And I was like this. He was waving to me because Josie Zito's groceries had to be delivered and she wouldn't wait. And Mickey Mantle never had that pressure. He was standing up there. So, it was an interesting time. Also, I remember Mom's cooking was one of the big highlights. We had, I guess, your scheduled menu. Monday you had soup, Tuesday you had macaroni, Wednesday you had something different, Thursday you had macaroni, Friday you had fish, Saturday you had steak and soup, and Sunday you had gravy and macaroni. The usual. And the one thing about it was that it was so great that even knowing what you were going to have didn't matter. It was still delicious. So we appreciate you for that as well. I remember one day, Anthony and I were putting up some groceries. And the usual thing, we had to make a game out of it, because otherwise it was too tedious. So we had the big box of Scott tissue. It was 96 counts. Remember that? There were a lot of tissues made on the shelf. So we'd take turns dropping back to pass, going a spiral, about 40 feet from one end to the other. We'd make fingertip catches and all, and we got our practice in, plus we got things done. And I remember one day this girl came in, And she was wearing a Barringer jacket, which was the rival of our high school, team we despised the most, which was John Barringer, Dave, and Henry. You guys weren't William, Mario. We used to hate Barringer. It was beat us, football. And she was wearing a Barringer jacket, which was great because now I could easily make a conversation with this beautiful girl. You know, usually else, what else can you say? And we had a few comments about all teams being Galesburg and West Side District. And of course, that was the beginning of a love relationship that we've had, and we just celebrated our 25th anniversary last year. So, in some cases, the story was really good. We were going to graduate and throw in gallons of oil the next time, but I decided to quit at that point. But those were some of the great memories that we have. And I know several people may want to speak. I got homework. I had a station wagon. I was out of place. I went to his house and spent we went to this all night after the ball was a jazz club. And I knew I had to get home to the other market. Now it had to be close to 4 o'clock. Sure. And he's going to walk out. He's going to expect that wagon to be there. And I remember I got there within maybe 15 minutes when he was going downstairs. But I said, the temperature gauge, he's going to do the temperature gauge. It was kind of cold. He's going to see it's still warm. I never remember a time when Mom or Dad, my mother and father were ever angry. Can anybody ever remember when either one of them ever were not in a good mood? When, Nancy, when? When I was born, I guess. They were in a very bad mood that day. I don't know why. The only time my father really got me angry was a few months after Joe had gotten his driver's license. And he took his new red 1960 Pontiac Catalina that I was in love with, but I was too young to drive it. And he took it to Long Branch. He went down the shore, and he said to Mom and Dad, he said, I'll be back by midnight. And my father didn't like that. He thought it was too late, but he said, okay, do not come back later than midnight. So at midnight, both my father and I, my mother was smart, she went to sleep. My father and I were up. Of course, jealous sibling that I was hoping he'd come in late and get hit. And in my fantasy, I was saying, maybe he'll take the key away, and then I'll get the key in the car and I'll fix it. That was my fantasy. And then, in any event, 12 o'clock came, no Joey. And have you ever seen my father look out the blinds when he's angry, the blind shape? And he was pacing the floor, and it was the first time that I heard Italian curse words. Never knew he was capable of it. And the first time I heard that word, that was manage. And I said, you want a massage? Why? I didn't know. And of course, the ever popular, he got more. With the radio hero. And I'm talking, he was in a rage. He was so angry. I've never seen him so angry. All of a sudden, we hear footsteps down at the bottom of these stairs, and Joe had come home. And this person who was so angry all of a sudden becomes very tranquil, very calm, and he put the chain on the door. And Joe's at the door, he's got his key, he can't figure in the door, and the door won't open. So my father goes over to the crack in the door and says, yes? And Joe, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, he wants to go, he says, come on, let me in. My father says, this is the classic one, give me the key. So Joe said, come on, I want to go to sleep. Give me the key. So Joe gave him the key, and my father proceeded to bend it. He proceeded to bend it. I got it here. And we would like our anniversary gift to my father is that key. Now, you all know, too, that my mother had hundreds, if not thousands, of friends, not just relatives and neighbors, but everyone who came into our store was a friend. And, I mean, this was a pretty good life. She made money and she socialized. You can't beat that, you see. And, see, it was the kind of thing where when people came in, it wasn't, I'll have a quart of milk and a loaf of bread. It was, Margaret, what are you cooking? And, you know, Frances Percasinti she'd go straight in the back to lift the gravy. I'd be back there changing my clothes. Frances! And I never said to myself, I think that my father said, I've got to be the one to be serious because we got a business to run here. Otherwise, we're going to party 24 hours. So what he would do is try to, and he wasn't very successful at it, but he would try to control my mother's socializing. When customers would come into the store, and he developed two strategies in which to do this. Anytime she was involved in a conversation with, say, Francis or Josephine or somebody, and it was going on too long, he had these two ways of telling her to curtail it. One, he'd sing. Not words, but he'd go, and the singing, that was the message. Get her out of here! I want her out! The other strategy, this is an ingenious strategy. The other strategy he developed was what I call the Ralph Cramden mode of muttering under your breath. You know, like when I used to say, it was the Ralph Cramden mode. So this one day, Leon, a worker from around the corner, who always seemed to be inebriated, who loved my mother. I mean, well, everybody loved her, but he's real. I mean, he would come in not to buy anything, just to talk to my mother. Okay? And Leon would come in. He came in before Christmas one day, and he had really been drinking, and he was in the store. What do you want, Leon? Nothing. I just came in to talk to your mother. My father loved that. I mean, he loved it. He came in here not to spend money. I love it. I love it. Bring your friends. Bring your friends the next time. Bring the family and the friends. We'll have a big one. I'll cut some bologna. We'll eat. So Leon comes in, and it's the holiday season, and he says, Margaret, you want to dance? So my mother says, oh, I don't dance. And my father's in the back, and I say, you should dance. You should dance. Get him out of here. Margaret, you want to drink? Oh, I don't drink. You should drink.